trying to spend too much time on this, but we want to be able to find our y equals mx plus b, and we need to be able to find that if we have a graph or if we're given a couple of points. And later on we'll learn how to convert from one form to another, because this is called slope-intercept form, but there are other forms as well. Okay, so remember that m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. And for this one, it's pretty easy. We have our y-intercept already figured out for us, and then we just need to figure out our slope. And you'll notice that these are actually halves. Okay, so don't count them like 1, 2, 3, 4, because that'll, well, it could mess you up. Okay, so we need to find the slope, and the equation for the slope, if you remember, it's rise over run, right? How much do we go up or down, if it's negative, over how far left and right do we go? Okay, so rise over run, which the actual equation is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what that means is we pick a y point, okay, so like the 4. And then we pick another y point, so 2. And that would be y2 and y1. And you can reverse them as long as your x values that go with them match. So when y is 4, our x is 0. So y2 could be 4, but x2 would have to be 0. We'll do that a little bit more in the next one. Okay. But for this one, let's kind of do it a different way. So first of all, we're going to write down our slope, or sorry, our y-intercept, because it's right there, it's easy to do, so b equals 4. Okay, where it crosses the y-intercept, where x equals 0. And then we're going to figure out our slope. So to find our slope, I'm going to start right here, because I know I have a point right there, and I know I have a point right here. And yeah, it doesn't say what it is, but I know that this is a 1 because it's right in the middle of 0 and 2. Actually, these are negative, so negative 1. So I started at 0, negative 2, 0, and then at negative 1, we're at 2. Okay, so this is a rise of, if I count these by halves, there's 1/2, 1, 1 1/2, 2. Okay, so my rise is 2, and then my run is 1/2, 1, is 1. So this is equal to 2 over 1, which simplifies to 2. So this is pretty easy. Y equals 2x plus 4. And you could put that in Desmos, and it should look just like that. Okay, the second one, we don't have a graph to look at. The numbers are not so pretty, but we're going to kind of do the same process. But we're going to find our slope first, because we have this set. So we'll just call this x1, y1. Remember, the x's and the y's have to go together. X is always your first number. x2, y2, and y is always your second number. All right, so my equation is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I can do this with any 2 points that have, so I don't have to use these. If they gave me other ones, I could use that. But any 2 points on the line will work. So I'm going to go ahead and start plugging numbers in. 5.7 minus, and then negative 1.5. So that's going to become 5.7 plus 1.5. Okay, 7 and 5, that's 12. So that's 7.2. That's a lovely number. And then my x2 is 3.5. And my x1, again, we're subtracting a negative, is negative 0.5. So I add those up, and that gives me 3.5 plus 0.5, which gives me 4. So my slope is 7.2 over 4, which is not very pretty. I want to make that a whole number, so I'm just going to make it, I'm just going to multiply everything by 10. 72 over 40, which we could reduce that, but we're just going to leave it as an improper fraction for now, because I don't really want to use this as, when I write this, I don't want to have, I want to be able to see the rise over run still. Okay, so we're going to go up 72 for every 40 we go over. I guess we could reduce that to 36 over 20, but we'll just leave it like that. That's fine. It'll come out the same. Okay, and then we need to find our b still, right? When x equals 0, y will equal b, but we don't have an equation. All we have are some data points. And so let's go ahead and use our y1 and x1 and plug those in for our y and our x, and then solve for b that way. So y1 is negative 1.5. And that is equal to 72 over 40 times negative 0.5. You see, I'm just plugging in the y value for y and the x value. See, y value for y, x value for x, and then I'll just have the b that won't be known. All right, so this equals negative 1.5. And I'm actually going to turn this into negative 1/2 because multiplying it works a little bit easier. So 72 over 40 times negative 1/2 becomes negative 72 over 80 plus b. This is still not very pretty. And again, you can use calculators, and that's fine. I don't have anything against that. Let's multiply everything by 80, just to get rid of that fraction for now. So 80 times negative 1.5 would be negative 120. And I'm sorry that I'm running out of screen. Negative 120 equals negative 72 plus, remember we can't leave the b out, so we have 80b. Add 72 to both sides, and then I'm going to bring this up to here. So negative 120 plus 72, and that's that. 1, 10, 8, 11 minus 7 is 4. So that leaves me with negative 48 equals, sometimes my pen stops working. I think my computer's tired. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so negative 48, we'll just use a triple equal sign because it's really equal to it, equals 80b. So b would equal, we're going to divide 80 from both sides. B would equal negative 48 over 80, which we could reduce that to negative 24 over 40, which is negative 12 over 20, which is negative 6 over 10. That's as simple as we're going to get with that one. So I'm also going to reduce that fraction, so though you don't have to. It'll come out the same when you graph it anyway. So that was 36 over 20. Which 36 over 20 becomes 18 over 10, which becomes 9 over 5. So 9 over 5, 9/5 x minus 3/5. 9/5 x minus 3/5. And you can test this. You can graph it. You could use Desmos to graph it and just make sure those points end up on your line. Or you can plug in one of the points and just make sure it works. We're going to just graph this real quick. 9/5 x minus 3/5. And sure enough, it runs right through these 2 points. And so that is the equation of the line. And that will be quite long enough, I think, for this video.